Hello and welcome to another episode of Loose Canon. We're back here once again talking about Destiny, and this week we are going to be talking about. I think we'll talk a little bit about Season of the Witch, as it is now the literally final season. I feel like we've like finished our talks on Witch, but then they gave us a little bit more. But
Yeah.
mostly we're gonna be talking about what we hope and expect to see in Season of the Wish, and then in 3 days, 2 days, 2 or 3 days, we will get to see if we're right or wrong on some of our predictions. So that'll be fun.
Yep. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's we've been really good about not missing episodes, but every time that we come back, it feels like it's been like months since we've talked. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Is that just a me thing?
No, I agree. Yeah, because I mean, 2 weeks, a lot can happen in the world of Destiny and the community in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think this was one of those weeks in this bridge here.
Yeah.
We had the reveal for the Witcher armor set, the Eververse armor set.
Yeah. That was
Oh,
the latest thing that happened, right?
that was the latest thing that happened in terms of like
Time on
communal
whatever.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I never played The Witcher. I haven't even seen the show. I know
Yeah.
zero about it. I get it, but I don't really know anything about the lore or anything. I heard it's really good, the
Mm-hmm.
game, and I heard that the show is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But like to the extent of that knowledge, I know nothing other than what I see on the community.
Because it's based off a series of books. I don't know if you knew that.
Uh-huh. I got that part, but I didn't understand like I don't even know what The Witcher is, to be honest. Still.
Uh, I have very limited knowledge of it because I only read like the first two or three books, and
Uh-huh.
technically, I think the first two books are prequel books. I don't, I don't know. I just read what I was told to read, and they were all right.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
I think it's either the first or second book though, and that's what I think. That I said on Twitter how perfect it is that this is coming with season four, because one of the first two books is actually called The Last Wish.
Uh, no
So it's
kidding.
like that's fucking perfect. Um,
It's awesome.
Aside from that, of course, you have The Witcher is like the monster hunter. He's like it's the trade, right? Like, oh, you're the guy that goes and hunts all the fucking things that go bump in the night. It's the thing that's been done to death by now.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Um, which is also kind of appropriate for Guardians because that's kind of like what we are. And I think there's something about immortality with The Witcher. Like you can die, but you won't die of age. So they're from my probably incorrect, very limited knowledge, this is a fantastic thematic crossover.
Yeah. There's a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
Neat.
And the armor set looks amazing. Like absolutely fucking like huge applause to the design team who did that because what was the last crossover armor set we just had? Was it
Well, it was the
Horizon?
three. It was
Yeah, it was
yeah, it
yeah,
was
yeah.
Horizon, Kratos, and the other one.
Assassin's Creed?
No, it was the other one, the like Roman thing.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed.
Oh, was that so we got two Assassin's Creed themes armor sets,
Wait a second.
or was that just the one?
No, I don't even know now. Because I know that we
Oh
have a
man.
Horizon Zero Dawn armor set for the
Well,
Hunter,
I
which I'm
knew
not.
that. I knew that when we got the Kratos one for the Titan, but then there
There's a
was
Kratos one for
well,
the Titan?
wasn't there?
I don't know, man. I remember Kratos going to Fortnite.
I'm pretty sure there was. I'm pre I'm pretty sure maybe there is two Assassin's Creed sets.
No, because
Wouldn't
why
that
why
be it?
why wouldn't no, because Hunter does have an Assassin's Creed armor set because I have that set. Wait,
Huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
because they did the different games. Like I think the warlocks got Altair, and the Titans got whoever the hell they got, and the hunters got uh
Oh, Last of
Origins.
Us. Oh no, Last of the blah blah blahs. The samurai thing. I just looked it up. It's that it was the
If you just looked it up,
what
what's it
was
called?
I'm trying to find the name. I'm just looking at the picture. I recognize it's the samurai set for the warlock. What was
Oh,
that game called?
Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah.
Because it was the PlayStation crossover, so it has to be
Yeah,
Ghost of Tsushima.
and then the Last of Us was the ghost and the sparrow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
There we go. There we
Okay.
go. There we
Sorry for
go. That makes
that
sense.
very
Derail.
very fun listening derailing there. I like what I was trying to say is I like the Horizon. I'm only going to play Hunter. I'm only ever going to get anything for Hunter. I was very jealous of the Warlock set from that crossover drop. I was
Yeah.
very jealous of that. The Horizon Zero Dawn armor, while it looks very good and it's probably like one of the most thematic Destiny looking sets, because like that's from fucking Destiny. When you look at it, it's like, yeah,
Yeah, it
that
really
fits
does look
perfectly.
like a yeah.
It just wasn't it wasn't what it wasn't my style. The Last Wish, not the Last Wish, the Witcher set that they're doing looks really fucking good though. And I'm a little conflicted. I because I don't want to buy silver anymore. I don't want to buy anything extra anymore because it's like, well,
Yeah.
shitty
Yeah.
practices lose
Yeah.
support. So,
It sucks the position you're in because you know
yeah.
it's like if the game doesn't do well, there's no more game. And the
Yeah.
people that are still there, you want to support them, but at the same time, you want to show upper management
Mhm.
that what they're doing really sucks.
Yeah.
I think on the whole they get it. I think they understand it. But it's like what we were saying last time. There comes a point in time when people need to recognize that art has no,
Mhm.
like there's no inherent value on art. It's whatever you deem it is
Mhm.
worth, right? So they need to hold up Destiny in that regard as if we're playing art.
Yeah.
It's not only a game. At this point, it's really driven by the community, and the community says, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like what happened with Wall Street. Remember GameStop and the stocks and all that?
It's
I
all
just
made
got
up.
through watching that. I just got through watching that dumb money movie last night, so I'm on a
Oh.
tear. It's
Yeah.
so good though. It was so
Was
good.
it? I'll check it out.
Yeah, it was really good. The end really gets you. It was good, good.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, no,
anyway,
no. Video games as a whole, not just Destiny. All video
yeah,
games.
yeah,
It's an
video
art
games
form,
as a whole,
and
specifically.
that
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. And so we've seen the ebbs and flows of what happens when corporations and executives and upper, you know, uh, investment groups,
Hmm.
whatever, when they have too much pull and and whatnot, it really taints the end result. I
Hmm.
mean, it just really makes it all crap. It's like there there's a time and there's a sweet spot for everything, and you need to capture that. You need to hold on to it with everything you got, and don't sell out, right? you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
No, you're completely right. And um, I won't derail it further. I was gonna say something because as you were saying that, I was like, I have a perfect example of exactly what you're saying, sitting on my desk in front of me. So it was, I'll be good and not not bring it up. But yeah, you want to speak with your wallet with things like this, and it's like
Yeah,
I don't. I want to get that armor set. The armor set's awesome. I want to use it. I don't want to support the practices, especially. I think it was JP Deathblade on Twitter. He went through because there are certain things that you can actually track like through the API. He went through and found how much percentage of players, etc., bought certain items, and then was able to like factor out how much money that actually equated to, and it's like an astronomical amount of money, and it's so. And I know making video games aren't cheap, but when you see these in-game currency sales be that fucking high, and then they get said, no, it's not enough though. It's like,
right. So here's my biggest window to, just as somebody who owns his own business, and I'm wrapped up in sales a lot of times with people that have a lot of money on my day to day.
mm-hmm,
um what I've able to understand, both from the perspective of a consumer and from the perspective of a business owner slash investor,
mm-hmm,
um what I'm able to see is that they always try to use comparables
mm-hmm,
when justifying how good something does. And that's just across the board in any kind of business, right? So if you sell apples, you're going to try to see how much your competitors are selling their apples for, what kind of apples they are, how good are they, what do people deem is good about this apple, blah, 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 the product, right?
mm-hmm,
And so you come up with your own inherent value as to how much your apple is worth because you attach certain things to your apple. So if your apple is organic, um, the farming of your apple is you know uh, good for the environment, things like that. Now
yeah,
your apple has more value. And so the problem with that is when you have a bird's eye view and that's really all you have, it's hard to understand what the people in the trenches are are feeling is most valuable about your product.
mm-hmm,
So if the apple doesn't taste good, it doesn't matter, because at the end result, if the customer buys the apple and it takes a bite out of it and they just like, this sucks. It doesn't matter what you do, how great you are, what your price is. And so we're the ones in the trenches as a consumer eating the apple. And when it doesn't taste good, we don't want it. And so we don't care anymore. But then there's the other thing. If it's a juicy, delicious apple and we've been eating it for so long, as soon as we recognize that, hey, how are we getting this apple? Oh crap, there's some really bad stuff going on how they make this apple. We don't want it anymore. So there's a double-edged sword, and you've got to find that perfect sweet spot where people can make money and survive, but at the same time, people have a great product to digest.
mm-hmm,
And I guess the only thing I'm really trying to say is the people that are up at the top, they're not in the trenches. It's very difficult for them to understand what the reality is of how great this game is. And
mm-hmm.
so the only thing they can compare it to is how successful are other games. So what do we have to compare to Destiny?
Not a lot, to me.
Exactly.
To
There's
be honest.
there's nothing like Destiny. And so when people see a game like Overwatch selling millions and millions of dollars on whatever skins,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, what does the game Overwatch give you? You
Or,
have a multiplayer game, some
yeah.
maps you go around and kill each other with, and what else is Overwatch? Does it have a story? Do they have missions? Do they have an open world to explore? Do they have lots of lore to digest? Do they have tons of artists working on the game like Destiny? Do they have tons of writers? Do they have tons of all of this other stuff?
Yes, to
Take
a number
even the
of
game.
those.
Yeah, so what I mean is the amount. So it's just not comparable.
Yeah, it's
And
very
so
different.
what these guys up in the top are seeing is, well, it costs this much to make Overwatch, but they're making way more money.
Mm-hmm.
So it costs a significantly lesser amount to make that game and invest, time wise, whatever you attribute, money, monetary time, all of those investments into making that game versus Destiny. Destiny takes an insane amount of work to
Mm-hmm.
make it. I mean, we know that
Yeah.
um, because any little thing that they want to do, it takes a while. And Destiny has a ton in it. Even though we say, "Oh, there's nothing in there," it's just because we're relating it to our experience seasonal
Yeah.
wise. But all that being said,
And
Destiny
and
has a ton of stuff in it.
and that's why I'm the type, I don't understand the people who look at like I've seen a few of these takes. I don't remember the names of the people. I wouldn't say that if I did. Who would say things like if we ever had another Taken King drought, I would quit the game. And it's like, yeah, and then you come back when the drought's over. Like it's not a
Yeah,
drought. It's
yeah. It's just
you play the game
it's
until you stop having fun with it and you play something else. Like I'm not playing every game that I've bought since I was a child, Like I buy them, I
right.
play them until I've had my fun with them and then I put them down. And a
So
lot of times I
Destiny's
like to pick them back up after a while.
Destiny's in this weird spot because early on they didn't know what the game was going to be when they first
Yeah.
made it. It grew because of the community. Uh, that being said, with a live service game and to be able to keep creating, you've got to keep having ports and way stations for revenue to come in, right?
Yeah.
So you have to create a seasonal model. You have to create skins and, Eververse. And I remember when Eververse when it was first introduced, everybody was up in arms and screaming about, oh my God, the game is going to go to shit, and here we are. And, you know, and,
Well,
and,
they weren't entirely
and then
wrong.
I know, but like the outrage that was going on with that it pales in comparison to the apathy that we have
Mm.
towards all of the tons of skins and stuff. It's just like it was so hypocritical of us back then to say, I can't believe that you would charge $5 for a skin on a gun, and now we're talking $30.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
just
think
like
I think the Witcher set is $20.
it's crazy.
It is. It genuinely is. But
I I don't have an answer. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, and that's what I was trying to starting to get to, where it's like the reason it might feel like there's not much added to the game is because it's because of the seasonal model. I'm
Mhm.
very hopeful that if I mean, there's rumors, so who knows? If the game is to truly continue beyond Final Shape, I'm really hopeful that the episode model fixes that and they like break free of this. Every 3 months is a new season, every year is a new expansion, every 3 months is a new season model, and just let like build something worth selling every time,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
it. And if you want to have like an episode here and there to be like, hey, here's something smaller, but it's an episode, so it's not a full price game, and it's a little bit of a drip fed content, and it's kind of like a tangential story. It's not part of the main
right.
narrative. It's like a filler arc in like an anime. It's like, is it fun? Yeah, it's fun. It's got some new things to do, and it's not as big and elaborate. And it's like, okay, well then I'll come back for that because that sounds fun. I really hope to see that be the avenue the game goes.
I agree. I think the bad thing is that we just got somewhere along the way, we got into this idea that we constantly have to be playing Destiny.
Yeah, you don't.
Always. You don't. And I harken back to the days of D1 when I would hop on Tuesday, I would hurry up and knock out the Nightfall so that I could get the buff for the week.
Yeah.
Then I would go and get all my bounties done, the weekly ones. And then, day to day, I would pop on for like 30 minutes, knock out the dailies, and then go on to a different video game instead of this idea that I have to constantly be playing Destiny,
Hmm.
which is where we're at because the seasonal models give us this huge track.
Mm.
Let's be real. And who is it helping? It's helping the people that are constantly playing Destiny, and that's
And I
fine.
have friends like that. Like I have a friend who knocks out the track in the first week, and it's
Yeah.
like
Oh my
a
God,
hundred.
dude.
Yeah,
It's impossible for me.
yeah, with a lot of prep, of course. Like
Sure.
for the past 6 weeks, he's been doing all the bounties and stuff. The bounties
Mm,
that'll carry over, and it's like, all right, day one, he's at level or he's at rank 25, as
yeah.
are a bunch of my other friends, and they'll all get together for that first week of playing, and they're always together, always getting the shared wisdom buff that like lets you,
Yeah.
just multiply it
Yeah.
and make it go by fast.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he enjoys
I
that.
think
I'm not bashing him for enjoying that.
yeah, yeah,
I
no,
could
no.
never do it.
I don't want and I say it over and over and over. It's beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
You, no one should ever feel like they're being punished for playing this game the way that they want
Hmm.
to play.
I
I
agree.
think everyone who plays this game should be entitled to having fun regardless of what's going on and everything. So like if you're a grinder or if you're super, casual,
Hmm.
one of the great things I do look forward to is this the revamp of guided games. What is it called now? The
What
thing
does
where you,
the LFG,
yeah,
does it have a special name?
I don't remember. I
Fire
think
Team
so.
Finder?
Something, yeah.
I think that actually might be it.
It's in beta apparently, so they just went ahead and put it out to where people can
Yeah, Guided
actually,
Games was in beta
partake in
too.
it. Yeah, forever. Uh, so I am excited to see what happens with that because I think that's probably a missing element that could help energize the game because, like we were just pointing out, there are diehard grinders out there that are willing to help or
Mm,
that genuinely do enjoy helping others, right? So
mm,
let's get back to that. Let's get back to the days of going out on a patrol and seeing a brand new blueberry, and then he's trying to, shoot a shank and he can't, and so you go over there with your Gallahorn, knock it out for him, and then he gets his little
yeah.
armor, right? Let's get back to that day where we just help somebody randomly.
Yeah, remember in Taken King actually, because I feel like that was like one of those like pinnacle moments of that. In Taken King, you'd have the Taken events. I don't know if they actually had a name or not, where it was like this location will sometimes have this Taken boss, and it was like a thing that kind of ran parallel to public events, but it was like special
Yeah,
for the Taken King. I'd love to see more of those, like world bosses,
yeah, there you
like
go.
incentivizing going to new and old locations, and
Yeah.
we do have that, and maybe I'm wrong for saying it. We do have that right now on Neo Muna, which I know in the first few weeks of playing, that was huge. Everyone was doing what was it called? Terminal overload.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone was doing that because it would get you the keys, it would get you the rep, you can dupe the chest, things like that. It was a lot of fun. Uh, it's the longevity of it where it's like those taken events. You'd have to be good, but you could solo those. I don't think you can solo a terminal overload, or
No, there's
maybe
no
it's not
way.
timed, so you can just do it
No.
forever.
Yeah.
I think it might not be timed, so you can just. Oh wait, no, it is timed, right? It's got like
Yeah,
three
it
stages.
runs out. Yeah. So
If you
the
can get
first
to the
stage
third
will
stage, third
yeah.
stage goes forever. Stage one and two are timed.
Yeah.
Either way, um, hopeful for the future. I think that's the biggest
Oh,
thing.
for the future. Crap.
What is that? The song?
Yes.
The song in the game, right?
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's been a while since they've referenced that song, hasn't it? Like
It has. It has been a minute.
I think the last time they did it was in Forsaken.
Oh, because of the dance club.
Yeah, in the dance club.
Yeah.
When did the 0 hour mission come out?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess that was after.
That was after Forsaken.
Yeah, definitely.
That was like Shadowkeep or something, Beyond Light Shadowkeep.
Something.
Okay, it was then. Whenever Zero Hour came out, that was the last time they referenced it because you could actually go to it was closed off, but you could go down to
You could hear it.
the
Yeah.
Hunter Lodge and you can hear it. It was super distorted.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
another thing. Bring back the fucking Hunter Lodge because we need a cool place of our own.
Yeah. Cade's ship docked at the Hunter Lodge.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was.
I always made people mad when I was like, "That's the Hunter Lodge," and they're like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Look around. Yes, it is. It's filled
Yes,
with
it is.
sniper rifles, Hunter armor, and the Hunter logo.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Zer hangs out." Well, anyway, would you like to get into the lore card this week?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
brought to you from Destiny Army Defined, it's our weekly lore card.
Yeah. Um, so like we're talking about Ahamkara and all that stuff, and I, for one, am like insanely excited to see what happens with that. And so I thought this one would be a little bit relevant, because this is like throwback, way back. Like
Hmm.
imagine those days in D1 and you're picking up weapons and you're not even paying attention to anything.
This could two tap, right?
Huh?
This was the gun that you could two tap with, right? In PvP.
Oh, is it? Is this that one?
I think it is. You
Oh,
keep talking.
wow.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. All right. So this was a gun. It was a legendary, but I don't, I can't remember. I don't know. I think this might have started off as a rare and then they turned it to legendary. If
Uh,
I don't remember.
Year one debuted in House of Wolves.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, there we go. So it the model on these hand cannons back in the day, if you remember, they were just like used to death, right? But they would bolt on little different things to them and give them neat little, add-ons like a scope here or a laser sight here or just this weird like holster thing or like a little holder tab or whatever they were called. They got some cool features, but this one kind of flew under the radar under other than maybe it had that two tap capability. I never used it really. Um,
Yeah.
it's
To give you a little Destiny history on that, looking it up on the wiki, I'm remembering it now. Ill Will had a very low magazine. Its magazine says from 5 to 9, but I swear to God, you were able to get it to, like down to 3. And it could also roll with luck in the chamber. So
oh shit.
so basically it's like, all right, well I have luck in the chamber and all it could roll luck in the chamber final round. So
Oh no.
I think that was the magic of it where
Okay.
you take your first shot and if you hear the bling of luck in the chamber, you reload, you do it again and you get this one, boom boom, that person's dead. You got luck final
Yeah.
round and then you have to reload and hope for it again.
And it was a primary weapon where you didn't, run out of ammo, right?
No, they
Because
did. They
wasn't
ran
that
out
the
of ammo. They ran out of
Oh,
ammo
they
back
did?
then.
Okay.
They
Okay.
got rid of that in D2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you could do two primaries technically is what they were calling. You could run anyway. So getting into the lore card, uh, ill will. The flavor text on this one is particularly relevant, because so like you're back in House of the Wolves, you're just reading flavor text, you're not paying attention, you don't
Hmm.
know anything about anything, right? At that point, you know a little bit about the lore. You're starting to find out about House of Wolves and Mara, but like at that point in the game, we knew nothing. But here's the flavor text, and it says, "I am a particular genie for a particular wish." And so you're like, what the hell does that mean back then, right?
Yeah.
But we know a lot now about wishes and what that means and what they're talking about. But it's funny because the flavor text is playing with the name of the gun. And so what does that mean? So ill will is like an expression you say, yeah, people have used it before. I'm sure most people listening to this podcast have heard it in a way. Uh, but like for instance, I wish you no ill will, right?
Hmm.
So see, it's kind of funny. You're playing with that wordplay of I wish you no ill will. And so the gun is kind of saying I'm a particular genie for a particular wish. Maybe it's saying something counter to that, right? Like, well, I wish you bad will. Like I'm going to kill you with this gun or something like that, right?
Hmm.
Um, but in light in of the grimoire, in light of Ahamkara and Wish Dragons, it brings on a whole nother meaning. And so if you think about I wish you no ill will as a statement, expression, it means you harbor no negative intentions or desires towards another. Um, but here's where we get into fun stuff. So a genie is a supernatural being or spirit. Most people know this. We all know about genies. Uh, they're rooted in Middle Eastern folklore and Islamic mythology. They possess great powers and the ability to grant wishes. Like that's just the gist of it.
Hmm.
Um, so when you think about wish dragons and you think about Ahamkara and you think about like where does that pull from as far as folklore and mythology and why do we even think about wish dragons? Well, it's really playing with the old genie idea, the old idea of folklore and what do genies do. And so historically, um, just on the face of it, the expression "I wish you no ill will" is just a statement of goodwill, which means that one harbors no negative intentions or desires towards another person. It conveys a genuine sentiment or a holding of no ill feelings, resentment, or malice towards an individual, right? But as far as genies go, we know that there's always like a twist, right?
Hmm.
And so when you make a wish with a genie, certain things can happen. So let's get into that. So a genie is a supernatural being or spirit often associated with Middle Eastern folklore, Islamic mythology. They're known for possessing great powers and the ability to grant wishes. Genies are typically depicted as either benevolent or mischievous entities. They're capable of manifesting in various forms, shapeshifters. They're often bound to objects, lamps, and bottles. Ahamkaras are locked in cells a lot of times, or being trapped or held as armor pieces, blah, blah, blah.
They're bound to their bones.
Yeah, bound to their bones. Uh, they're often portrayed as wish granters. Their true nature and intentions can vary. So it adds an unpredictability to their character. So, like in stories and folklore, there's always, this like idea that you can't circumvent a genie or they have like an ulterior motive. Um, Throughout mythology and folklore, genies have had their origins traced to a diverse range of legends and beliefs. Origins in Islamic beliefs, the concept of genies, also known as jinn, originated in ancient Arabian folklore and found prominence in Islamic theology. And so this is important because the word jinn for genie is an Islamic word. That word has been brought up in Destiny lore as well. So there are a couple of places where you could search on Ishtar that would lead you back to jinn as a concept, or genie, another name for genie. According to Islamic beliefs, jinn are sentient beings created from smokeless fire, existing in a parallel world alongside humans. They possess free will and are inherently invisible, although they have the power to manifest in various forms. Now, what does that sound like?
I mean,
So,
Ahamkara.
yeah. So there it is right there. So if you're ever wondering, like, what the hell is an Ahamkara? I really think they're playing with the idea of the jinn, which live in a parallel world alongside us, and they possess their own free will, and they're invisible, but they can manifest themselves to us in various forms,
Mm.
just like the shape shifting Ahamkara, which live on a different realm that we, anyway. So the genie story that we all know about because of Disney and everything else. Um, is the one from the Arabian Nights. It's one of the most renowned collections of folklore. Uh, it's basically 1001 nights. It's commonly referred to as the Arabian Nights. It's kind of like the thing about it. It's contributed to the popularization of genies in a global culture, that we know today. Um, this particular collection features captivating tales where genies play pivotal roles, granting wishes to humans, often leading to unforeseen consequences. Like, for instance, the iconic Aladdin story. Its genie in the lamp has become an iconic representation of genies in literature and slash entertainment. Early Persian mythology, which gave birth to this, um, there was a word called a div, which referred to the spirits or demons which played a fundamental role in shaping the image of genies. So divs are also powerful beings that sometimes interact with humans,
Hmm.
sharing similarities with the perception of genies and supernatural entities. The word div has also come up too in Destiny. Um, The blending of Persian and Arabian folklore contributed to the expansion of genie legends across various cross-cultural adaptations. So, from India to Greece, genies took on different names, such as Djinn in Indian folklore and daemons in ancient Greek mythology, which we know about daemons too.
Mm.
Uh, so, anyway, to summarize it, the belief in magical beings capable of granting wishes remains a common thread with distinct cultural interpretations. Genies are not just wish granting beings, but symbols of human aspirations, cautionary tales, and a testament to a rich tapestry of cultural imagination. Um, so, this little legendary hand cannon that existed in Destiny 1 may have been a nice little Easter egg for us all along about wishes and Ahamkara.
That that's one of those things where um it's like you never know what they were trying to do when they were trying to do it, right? And so that's actually what this season is. I have a lot to say about what this season's like intro piece is in regards to that. Um but so was that the end of the lore
Yeah,
card?
yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
I'll pull that off
Yeah,
the screen. So I do want to still talk about that just for a second. You said that daemons, like Daemons,
Dai. Yeah, Mans.
Dai.
Yeah. So the daemons were used as a character in Destiny during the simulated forest, whatever it was called.
That's why I was gonna ask because
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
well, how does I was trying
So
to like
daemons, the usage of daemons from the Greek and Latinized form started to be used in code speak for computer literature way later, obviously, sometime in the 70s, 80s. And so when they were writing code inside computers early on, they would refer to certain packets as daemons, and they're not necessarily bad, but they're basically there. Either they arise from bad coding or whatever. I'm speaking to something I don't deal with daily, but they either
yeah.
arise from bad coding or whatnot, or they're purposefully put into computer language so that you can rewrite yourself out if something goes bad later on.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's actually really interesting that that's I never knew. Apparently it is still pronounced demon even though it's DAE. Uh but yeah,
Yeah,
I just looked that up.
daemons. Yeah,
Daemon is a program that runs continuously as a background process and wakes up to handle periodic service requests, which often come from remote processes, and
yeah. There you
also
go.
rather than being under direct. control of, blah, blah, blah. So that's actually really
Yeah,
interesting to see. That's something that Destiny did with within the Infinite Forest. They had their demons basically blocking the path forward.
exactly.
That was the
Yeah.
task.
So
Um,
I try to pronounce it Damon's just so that people can understand it's different. And so the big thing
yeah.
about the Damons as far as a code is if you think about them like what do they mean for computers? It's kind of like the white blood cells in your body. You know, they attack the viruses that might
Hmm.
come in or interfere, or they handle the bad processes that arise, you know, from, you know, bad communications between whatever language or code speaker you're using at the
Hmm.
time, stuff like that. So they're there, they have a specific job, and then basically they almost have their own autonomy so that they can handle these things if they're woken up by bad code, like you had pointed out.
Hmm. That's really interesting to bring it back to the Infinite Forest like that.
Yeah,
Uh okay. So
Korea.
yeah, we so this episode is the one before Season of the Wish, and we're gonna be focusing a lot on the last, like the very last secret of Season of the Witch, as well as our predictions and hopes for the season. And so uh to just kind of piggyback off of what you were saying about ill will, how looking back at it, we can kind of look back at it and think like particular genie for a particular wish is that the 15th wish, and it's like, did they have the 15th wish in mind all the way back in House of Wolves? And especially when it's like it's House of Wolves, it's the Reef, it's to do with Mara, which is where
Yeah.
Riven is, which is where the Wish Wall is, which is where, excuse me, I imagine we're going to be, excuse me again, dealing with the new Ahamkara that we have. I'm so sorry. I keep the new Ahamkara that we're gonna, I'm assume, hatch between now and, like, on Tuesday. I think it's gonna be like, all right, here's what happened over the last few weeks. We hatched the egg. Go. Um. So
If the drifter doesn't make an omelet out of it
I'm
first.
sure he wants to. This is his one shot to do it. He's never going to find another egg. Um, One fun thing that came from this is that a lot of people didn't realize that in Forsaken, when you were shooting the corrupted eggs, that you were shooting Ahamkara eggs,
Yeah. Yeah.
which it's kind of baffling to me. I guess people were just very objective minded. They were just like, shoot thing. They're called
Yeah.
eggs for some reason. I'm not thinking any harder than that. And that's
Yeah.
fine. Live your life. Um, but the whole plot of stopping Zivu, locking her from a throne world, Savathun on her wings, was a code that our guardian figures out and is like, this is a wish. This is a wish that needs to be plugged into the wish wall. And it's the 15th wish, which has been like a Destiny. Uh, what would that be called? Not Easter egg, like legend, a Destiny legend,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
That's a good one.
a community legend since Forsaken, because it was data mined to exist, and the only text attached to it was, "This wish you shall cherish." And so a lot of people just kind of took it as like it's not a real thing. There is no 15th wish. They tried to brute force it. They were like, it's a thing. It's going to cause something to happen in the game. Nothing ever came of it. And everyone kind of moved on. And for a long time, I was under the impression that the 15th wish was made because uh, because when you're in Forsaken, uh, the wish wall is how you get your wishes granted by Riven, and they're entirely used to be used in the Last Wish raid, which canonically, after we go through that raid, Riven is no more. There's no more wishes to make. So wishes 1 through 14 were made or not made on the first Last Wish raid team uh, adventure, and
Yeah,
so because of that, that would make the 15th wish the last wish that Riven grants to Savathun, using us as a battery, 6 Godslayers who wished for her death. Using that energy as a battery, she made the wish that curses the Dreaming City to its 3-week cycle. And so I was under the impression that the 15th wish was the last wish. We now have new information that the 15th wish is its own new thing to be granted by a new Ahamkara, a particular genie for a particular wish, if you will.
nice.
And so now we are, what are we, like 4 years past Forsaken? 4 years since the 15th wish has been a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you go back and you think they had this all planned. And it's like, I think they did. Not specifics, but I think the broad strokes in Forsaken were planned. I think they had this idea for the 15th wish, and they were like, and there's going to be one more Ahamkara egg, and it's going to come up later. And Savathun has it. Maybe Savathun didn't have it. Maybe they were like, someone will have it, or it'll get found, And they were just ambiguous. There's gonna be another Ahamkara somewhere that will grant Wish 15, which will do something. And then, Forsaken, Shadowkeep. Shadowkeep comes out, and they're like, we really need to get the ending of this story locked in. That's when they came up with their 3-year plan for Beyond Light, Witch Queen Final Shape, or Lightfall. Excuse me. So that's when they came up with their 3-year plan. So just a year after Forsaken, they were like, we got this. And it's like, okay, ambiguous seed that we planted, 15th wish, that's going to be there. That's going to be right there for Lightfall. And that's how, or maybe slotted into Witch Queen. So Savathun has it. They're going to get it in Witch Queen. They're going to use it in Lightfall to defeat the Witness, who at that point in time, I think in Shadowkeep, was the voice in the darkness, is what we were calling the Witness back then. Then
Yeah.
Beyond Light came out. They realized, actually, we needed a 4th game. So they bumped the egg up one. So from Witch Queen to Lightfall. And then basically same deal, right? Like we're going to get the egg. We're going to get the 15th wish. It's going to get us the ability to continue fighting the Witness. And like just very broad strokes. It's not, and then they're gonna fight Quoria, and then they're gonna have the Splicers join them, and then Keitel's gonna
Right.
come hang out. None of that was like locked in, set in stone, in my opinion. In Forsaken, in my opinion, that was not set in stone. But they had this idea of a 15th wish that will one day be used.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I definitely think that they were playing with that all along.
yeah, kudos, kudos to them for because you also have to think about it like how many things they long ago back in Destiny 1 they actually referred to this as like planting seeds, and maybe they'll grow. And it's
Right.
like, how many seeds have they planted that haven't grown?
Right.
you
And
know
that's
they're
why I constantly bring it up that the seeds and the growing is from us, the game player. I mean, we're
hmm
the community that's outside of the game wishing for things to happen, wishing
yeah,
for new content to come in. We're the Aham Karas creating the track that Destiny runs down because we have this insatiable hunger for more from this game ever since its inception. So our hope for the future is that Destiny will keep pouring content into the game that we want,
yeah,
right? And what do we want? We want whatever we desire in the game is we want to know more. We want to have an answer. We want to have this. It's just it's really cool, and they play with us in there.
Hmm.
It's like that particular 15th wish that was written in that was discovered from a leak or whatever, data mining, whatever, stuff like that. They're fucking with us,
Hmm.
right? They're putting stuff in the game because they know we're looking for it. We're trying to break the code. We're trying to find out what's coming well before they'll ever going to tell us.
Yeah.
And so from time to time, they've thrown little things and little hints, or they've even misled us intentionally so that we would try to, you know, so they could see what would happen, see how insatiable we are, whatever. Who knows? You know, um,
Un-
I do like the whole idea about remember Medusa
yeah.
when we first discovered Medusa lore. A lot of that was brought out before we really had in-game content to kind of attribute it to,
That
or
was
to really,
unfortunate.
yeah. And so there was this whole idea that, oh my God, or like when Callus's little, what were they, the scribes that worked for Callus that were writing fanfic.
Yeah. They were the scribes, yeah. But
Yeah, yeah. So they're writing,
that was less problematic in my opinion
yeah,
because what you're saying with the Medusa, for those who don't immediately pick that name up and know what it means, Truth to Power was meant to be this like every 3 weeks piece of story where you're going in and then coming out from like it's because it starts with it being Eris, right? I think it starts with it being Eris. And
yeah,
it's like as the story progresses, it's like I'm not actually Eris. I'm actually a warmind submind named Medusa. I'm not actually Medusa. I'm actually Quoria. I'm not actually
yeah,
Quoria. I'm actually Medusa. I'm not actually Medusa. I'm actually Eris. And it's like
yeah,
it's this like I attribute it as going into and then coming out of a labyrinth, like going into the center of the labyrinth and
exactly.
then coming out
Yeah.
of it.
And they wrote what was that whole chain where you had to, if something happens, go to here.
Yeah,
And remember that?
they had
Yeah.
two choose your own adventure chapters in
Yes.
that.
Yeah. That was so good. And
Yeah,
so it's very much like the Ahankara was fucking with you.
yeah. Um,
They're aware of your player, and that's just a whole nother dynamic, in the game. And that really complicates things, but also it really kind of solidifies a lot.
so you just gave me a thought, and I want to ask you a question, but before I do that, I also want to say a couple other good examples of seeds and maybe they'll grow is Nezarec.
Yeah.
Nezarec for all they are might as well have just been like a throwaway nothing, like they were only brought up in like these ambiguous terms and by people who are liars, aka the drifter. But and that's why I was very against the existence of Nezarec. I didn't believe Nezarec was a thing, but here we are. Nezarec's a thing now because people wanted it. And
Yeah.
another one that people were really excited about was the Grimoire card for the Ghost Fragment Devils talks about how the House of Devils were in old Russia for some reason. They were looking for something underground. And then right next door, the Plague Lands, right underground, was Siva, the replication chamber. And it's like, oh, was that like from D1 vanilla? Was it always meant to go to Rise of Iron? And it's like some people say Rise of Iron was just thrown together just to like give them another year and stuff like that. And I don't know the truth of that, but the fact is it appears to have been a seed that got to grow. It might have not
Yeah.
always been Siva, but it was something. It was something that
Yeah.
they would
Good
find
call.
and use. And
Good call.
yeah. And
Bungie has a lot to pull on. So
yeah.
when they did the same thing in Halo, when Halo first came out, they did the same thing. They had these enigmatic figures that we knew nothing about, but they were building a universe and a world, and they had no flesh to it yet, so they were just kind of laying a little bit of the bones and framework for what could potentially lie out in the universe. And so
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that they threw in there were like the forerunners. What are
Yeah.
the forerunners? And and as the story progressed, you learn about the flood, which was, I think, a lot like what a lot of the little things in Destiny ended up being, but just split out amongst a lot of enemies that we encounter.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. All I'm saying is Bungie has a history, a very long history of doing this.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Now
Yeah,
that now that now that we're gonna get into uh oh, sorry, one more quick thing. To anyone who's
yeah.
actually going to the witch wall trying to brute force the wish, we will not we will not, if we are activating at a wish wall, it will be a unique uh load point. It will not be the last wish raid, because that is exclusively linked to the Forsaken pack. So people who have
Oh, that's
this
funny.
this season but not Forsaken wouldn't be able to do the initiator for this season. So it will be its own. We'll probably go to the wish wall. It'll just have its own node, like
Yeah,
in the helm. But so now, getting on to Season of the Wish, what do we want to see? What do we think we're going to see? We have, based on the big banner image, it's a big portal, right? The Ahamkara is coming out of it, just like Riven kind of came out of the darkness in the
yeah,
last Wish raid. Except we aren't facing the Ahamkara; we're coming out with the Ahamkara, which I think I mentioned on our last show. So it gives the appearance that we'll actually be working alongside this Ahamkara, kind of like how we did with Asa in Season
right.
of the Deep. And as you just mentioned, the Ahamkara are aware that we are players of a video game and they want out. Thematically. Obviously, it's a video game. They don't actually know anything. It's just
Sure.
before anyone thinks that I'm fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Do
Fourth
you
wall.
do you think that our new buddy Ahamkara will be talking to us, the player? Because this is our actual first
Oh, that's
chance
crazy.
to have a dialogue with an Ahamkara.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope.
I don't know. I don't know. That'd be really funny. Like even if there was just something throwaway, like
Yeah, just like
as we're
idle
playing.
chatter, like imagine having
Yeah,
like the room in the helm. You go through the portal or wherever the hell you go, and there's the Ahamkara sitting there, and you can just hang out with it, and it'll just have like idle dialogue, and it's
that
like
would be insane.
it maybe sometimes it'll say like, "Tell me about your world. Is it more real?" Things like that, like
Yeah,
just like subtle little things where it's like, "What the
yeah.
fuck? What are you talking about?"
That's creepy though to think about.
It'd
Like
be
if
awesome.
we team up with a Riven Ahamkara, and that's like how we gain access to fight the witness and whatnot. It's gonna
Yeah.
be crazy.
I mean, it's really just the now all we need is, because I don't think the Vex or the Hive could ever really be on our side in any capacity. Ahamkara was the last one left.
Well, let
You
me
know,
ask you a question. So we know that the Ahamkara can work with us in a somewhat um, like harmonious way where they aren't constantly trying to manipulate us, blah 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 blah. Because
hmm
we have long lore entries about it, how they just were hanging out with Mara and chilling and having discussions, and there were many different types of Ahamkara. But that being said, do you feel do you feel like do you feel like Riven is doomed, or
I think
or do you
Riven is already passed.
right? So like how could Riven play a role in all of this
I don't think they will.
other than okay,
This
it'll
is
just be
this
a
is
new
yeah,
Ahamkara?
this is one of Riven's clutch. I think they called it. So the new Ahamkara, I don't think it'll be called Riven. I think it'll pick a
Okay.
new name for itself. Um,
But
and I
will it be
think
taken?
no,
Okay.
which is another big difference between Riven and this new Ahamkara, because it was the one uncorrupted egg.
so the egg that we captured from
Embargo engine.
the Imbaru engine is potentially the Ahamkara that we could end up that we see in that
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah, that's 100% like zero doubt in my mind what I think is going to happen. That
Oh,
Riven's not coming back for this. Riven has ascended to whatever its next state of existence is as
well, see,
Ahamkara did.
that's why I thought maybe Riven was just, bone or a statue or something at this point, and then
Hmm.
we have to hatch the egg, and like Riven is talking to us to figure out how to hatch the egg or incubate it or
Oh,
something or other.
hmm. No, I don't think Riven's going to be involved at all. Although I'm sure
Okay.
people are going to be very confused. Going to be like, "What? Why isn't it called Riven? It looks just like Riven." And it's like, yeah, of course it looks just like Riven. They're not going to design a new fucking Ahamkara.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was just kind of like curious about that because like if Riven, could just be bone at this point, like all the other Ahamkara ended up being, how would they how would we glean that information to know that we need to hatch this egg to help go forward? Because like Savathun's gone.
Well,
She
Mara's
knew,
still around. I
so she
imagine.
would have the answer, like the key to how to use it
I
somehow.
imagine. I imagine. I imagine Mara knows how to incubate the egg properly.
Okay.
Um, However, and I'm trying to find it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, or if I am. I, uh, you'd mentioned that Ahamkara were like chill or whatever, right? They were just like
Yeah.
hanging out with
Yeah.
Mara. And one of my favorite cards from the Forsaken era, I think it was from Awoken of the Reef. No, it wasn't from Awoken of the Reef. It was from the other one, Mara Senna, the Dreaming City, maybe. Yeah, there it is, Azarim. The lore entry Azarim. It follows the an Ahamkara named Azarim, who uh is just hanging out with the Ahamkara and or hanging out with the Awoken. And basically Azarim pulls like a the fuck is it called? Pied Piper? Who's the guy that played the flute and killed all the kids?
Killed all the kids?
Yeah, because he like cleared the town of all their rats, and then when the when
Oh,
when the adults
yeah,
wouldn't
sure.
wouldn't pay him, he's like, all right, well
You,
now I'm gonna clear the town of all your kids.
like the
And
St. Patrick guy with the
well, no, that
snakes.
was the snakes, but yes,
Yeah,
very
okay.
very similar. Basically, that's what Azarim did. I can't talk and read the same
Yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah, yeah.
but so like, and Azarim said to those who knelt enraptured, "Come, let me sing to you of extinction. Let me sing to you of lives lost in beautiful places, O audience mine. Sing with me, sing." He bade them rise and led them singing down and away from the guardians of Esilia. He spread his wings and flew out into the empty air beyond the steep cliffs that bordered the gardens, and those who happened to glance toward the gardens from afar off pavilions, it seemed a merry parade, a joyous chorus, and they did not hear the singing stop, and they did not hear the bodies dashed against the shore below, and they did not see Azarim grow or laugh or flee. So it's like he got them all like fucking twisted up in their head with song and walks them off a cliff. They weren't just hanging out.
Wow.
It's like, why'd you
That's
do it? I was
crazy.
bored. I just felt like it. So
Yeah,
having an Ahamkara is going to be very dangerous.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so much Ahamkara, like for what we know now,
Hmm.
but still don't know about them. There's quite a bit of Ahamkara happenings, in the game.
Hmm.
Um, I think about like early on when we were first getting hints of Ahamkara, and in D1, it was just like, oh, okay, this is just some kind of like back folklore story of what
Yeah.
happened before. we were risen or whatever. And so it was just kind of like, oh, these Ahamkaras existed at one time. They're not here anymore. But isn't this a neat little story about them?
I mean,
Well,
I think there's a part, there was like a time in Destiny where that was actually the intention.
sure. But we were so hungry. We were like, no, we need more. And we
Yeah.
were wearing the bones, it's like,
As I forget who actually said that. One of the writers had said that. Like when they were writing the lore, they were writing it to be like, yeah, these are the guys that from the past. You don't need to care about
yeah,
them anymore. They
yeah,
were their thing. You are the star now. And then everyone was like, but we want them. And it's like,
yeah, yeah.
okay. And they had to like kind of play with it.
Sure. That's funny though, because like we've gotten quite a bit of Ahamkara lore since then, and it
hmm
all seems to be really kind of like it's somewhat humorous and dark at the same time, just most of the lore that's surrounding them. Um,
hmm
the Mara thing is like it's really big, obviously, because Mara is an enigmatic figure herself,
hmm
character herself, and like we still don't know a ton of stuff. But what we do know is that every single person in this damn game has made a wish. You know, mentor wise, even across the board, like just anybody that ever encountered a Hankara ended up wishing some way.
I mean, you don't
And so
know that.
we've got lore that just supports like all of the different wishes that happened.
Yeah,
Even our
but not
guardian made a
everybody.
wish. Well, you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like everybody that we are surrounded with on a day to
Yeah.
day in the game.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
like it's
The
it,
main
it's cre
cast.
yeah, the main cast. So it's creepy to know that, like, for instance, Ikora, made a wish and it changed her as a whole. Like, remember when I was
hmm
talking about how Ikora is kind of one of my favorite characters because
hmm
in the past she was like a badass in the Crucible, this iconoclastic warlock that was very punk rock, and she just was like, screw authority, screw any kind of ideology, blah blah blah. I'm not going to submit to your hierarchy, and that kind of thing. And then
hmm
she ends up becoming the very thing that she was against at first. But in doing so, she's rewriting and creating a much more intelligent future for people and just trying to support, like growth and ascension and whatnot, whatever. Because
hmm
she's seen the follies of being a chaotic, youngster out there in the universe. Uh, but how does she become who she is? Well, she made a wish, and it
Mm.
was an Ahamkara, that helped make that happen.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's creepy to think about.
so I have another question for you for
Yeah,
what you think will be happening in
sure.
next season. Next season we will be getting a new dungeon, and I think we're actually getting it this Friday. So very soon we'll be getting a new dungeon. Do you think
Yeah.
the Ahamkara will be involved with the dungeon, or do you think it'll be like standalone? Because I'm trying to remember last year's second dungeon, and I can't.
Honestly, I think it's, and I don't have anything to go off other than like the way that Bungie likes to present things. I don't think it's going to be Ahamkara related, the dungeon.
You think the dungeon will be its own thing?
Yeah, I think it'll be its own thing. It'll probably be it maybe have some hints to the Ahamkara storyline, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll give us a reason to go in there because it's tied to some story element that has to do with an Ahamkara. However, I don't think it's going to be like themed around Ahamkara or any of that jazz or
Yeah.
any kind of like whatever. Maybe you got to get something that pertains to the egg and incubating it or whatever, or a scale or a bone or something, that
Mm.
could be a thing. However, I don't think the overall um like theme of the dungeon will be Ahamkara. I
Yeah.
would love for it to be.
So dungeons generally are kind of like their own isolated thing, right? So like our
Yeah,
most recent dungeon has been Ghosts of the Deep, where we are, kind of thanks to Asa going down into Titan where we find Oryx's body and we find more Hive trying to fucking resurrect him still. And
yeah,
very sad for them. we interrupt it again and like fuck up their plans again. Uh,
Yeah.
but Ghost of the Deep had nothing to do with the necessary. What even was the point of Deep? What did we accomplish in Season of the Deep?
We were breaking the chains of Asa and keeping whatever from making Sloane more taken because we felt like the witness was doing all that. Because if the witness got a hold of Asa, then that would be really bad for us.
Okay.
And then it was uh, Ziva Arath
Oh yeah,
was trying to.
and then Zivu are at like that. It's like a fourth.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like a 4-year old telling a story.
Yeah,
Yeah, Season
yeah.
of the Deep was kind of a miss for me, so I apologize for not really
Mm.
knowing what the
There,
hell happened in Season of the Deep. I just
it's
remember
so
fishing.
bizarre. It's so, yeah, fishing. It's so bizarre because like it had the drifter helping us, keep the taken from overwhelming
Yeah, it's
Sloane.
like
Yeah, and then there was the egregore that got us to, get in there
was it just more
because
egregore
Ziva,
stuff? Because I can't remember. Like what did
we
we
didn't want
actually
Ziva,
do?
we didn't want Ziva to get the taken ability, is what was my understanding,
The
or to
ability to
somehow
take. I think
take.
she has that.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think I didn't think she did.
I don't know. I'm trying to base our previous dungeon on how integral to the story our new dungeon can be. And Season of the Deep,
Oh,
that was a mistake on my part. I shouldn't have done that. Uh,
mm,
what was the dungeon
that was a
before
bad
that?
one. That was
That
a
was
bad one.
the Spire of the Watcher. Completely disconnected from the
Yeah,
story.
that was way off.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Cowboys?
But not even. It was just Vex. Okay, and then the one before that was the nine. Well, not the one before that, but the one with the nine. That one.
Prophecy?
What was what was that about?
Well, that one was actually really important, in my opinion. Prophecy, while it didn't directly correlate with the story, it did pose the question of like, what is the light and what is the dark, and why are they the same fucking thing? Like,
Oh yeah, okay.
neither one is actually good. They're both kind of just, they both kind of suck, type of thing, you know. Um,
Yeah, they're both there.
Lore wise,
Let me
Prophecy was really good.
let me ask you. Do you
Okay.
think we'll see Io?
That would be interesting if they could finally, because remember when we had Io like early in D2, they were like, and those bones are important. We're like, really? And
Yeah.
then they're like, and Io's gone.
Yeah. So here was my thing. So we knew it originally when I was brought to us and we saw all the big nautilus shaped shells
Yeah.
that were
Also, what
like
the fuck? Why are there so many shells?
so in the lore early on they explained all of the features on
Ammonites?
Io as being a byproduct of the fact that the traveler was stopped mid terraform.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's scary.
So like, yeah, I know. So like the travelers terraforming Io, but then stopped, and so that's why it looks so bizarre.
What is
And
what is Io a moon to?
what do you
Jupiter?
mean? Yeah,
Io's a moon. What planet is it a moon to? Jupiter?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I was just asking.
Well, there's four moons that go around Jupiter.
Well,
Io's like
there's more
the
than
one that we could
4.
possibly like. Well, the Galilean, how do they say it? Galilean moons.
Oh, I don't know.
So like of the moons that we could possibly like that are like specifically real moons,
Yeah.
there's four.
Yeah, because I mean, I know I'm wrong about it, but I cannot give up the idea that Saturn is the fundament. And thinking about a moon having ammonites on it is just like, well, there you go. There's even more proof. But never mind.
Yeah,
Forget I
I
said
know what you mean. I know what you
it.
mean. I know what you mean. Like the gas giant
Yeah.
lore and then the brown dwarf and all that.
Yeah, it'd be funny to
My
me. It'd be really funny to me if
my
millennia
my
ago,
yeah, go ahead.
if millennia ago, Saturn was the fundament, and the hive
Th-
got off of the fundament and just went a big ass fucking circle around the universe and then came back. And they're just
Yeah.
like, it's so different now. They don't recognize it.
One of the early things that I thought of when we first got that calcified fragment that spoke about the fundament and the brown dwarf and all that. One of
Mm-hmm.
the first things I thought about, Will, was what if our solar system was in parallel to the solar systems that the Hive and the Fallen and all these other enemies were experiencing just on a different timeline, and then some cataclysmic event brought them all here into the same universe.
Mm. I used to think like
But their
that
soul
early in
systems,
D1.
their soul systems were just different and altered or younger or older or whatever.
Hmm.
Anyway,
So
so
we
yeah,
don't think that
I
we don't think the dungeon will actually apply heavily to the story. Because I was gonna ask, do you think the dungeon will be key to? I do not think, because you keep saying like get an incubator or something. I think we're gonna start. I think week one we're gonna have that Ahamkara.
yeah, maybe.
Like it's
Well,
not gonna be a.
Here's the
It's not
thing.
gonna
The
be a
the
thing of
artifact picture that they showed off has it's in a sensor. Do you know what that is?
no.
Okay, so the artifact that they showed is in a sensor, and so what that is the little device that they use to spread smoke around a room that's hanging from a chain, and it's like the incenser, like
Yes.
like for
Yes.
instance, like at the Catholic Church when they go down then they spread the smoke,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
like in old
Like the
world.
scorn.
Yeah, and in the old world, they used to walk around with it, and they would cleanse the area with smoke.
Okay.
Um, in that picture, what looks like inside the sensor is it looks like an Ahamkara scale to me, but I can't glean anything from it.
Well, I mean,
So
I
yeah,
would believe that there's an Ahamkara scale in it because I do not think we are going into this season just to get an Ahamkara at the end. I think we are starting this season with an Ahamkara. Like either after the finale of the first week, we will have the Ahamkara, or at the beginning of the first week. It's like, all right, we hatched the egg. Here's your baby fucking Ahamkara. What do you want to name
yeah,
it? Like that's how Tuesday is gonna start. Either that's how Tuesday's gonna start, or that's how like Tuesday's gonna end because people are just gonna do it all in one day. Um, but effectively, we are having that Ahamkara on Tuesday.
yeah, yeah.
Is my point,
Okay.
because it's in the title card. Just like I think Asa was in the title card for Deep as well. So it's like, yeah, Asa was there day one. It's like, hey, check it out, Proto Worm Asa, and you'll figure it out later.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, okay, so the artifact is called Queen's Foil Sensor.
Uh
So
huh.
it's a queen's foil sensor.
Uh huh.
And what do we know about Queen's Foil? Queen's
Get you
Foil, I
high.
think back in it
It
goes back
it,
to the
it
it goes
does.
back to the lore, but the the picture of it very much looks like a scale or a bone that's sitting inside there. But I mean, I could be wrong. I could be way off.
Let me look this up.
Uh, just type in Season of the Wish artifact.
Oh, I'm just looking up Queen's foil sensor.
Yeah.
I should have just done what you did. I'm not finding it.
Anyway, that was my thought. Because you can tell it's almost like we're carrying it around trying to cleanse areas with it, or somehow it cleanses us, maybe, or something. That would be my implication, or that would be my assumption as to what a sensor would be doing in our possession.
Oh yeah, what the hell? That's those have to be Ahamkara scales.
Yeah, or something, right?
And look on the inside of that. look on the inside of that. There's like a little fucking like universe.
Void ball or something. Yeah, like yeah, yeah, universe. It's like one of those little spheres that Mara had.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw that up on screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, clearly three Ahamkara scales slash potentially teeth. They kind of look like
Yeah.
teeth.
They
And
do
then
look like teeth.
on
You're
the
right.
inside they have there's this like little like universe in there, and I say universe because there's these like two little circles and then one big circle on the left side. On the left side there's two little circles with like cosmic emptiness between them, and then on the right side it's one big circle. So it's making me think, is that like one solar system, two solar system, three big solar system, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting.
But
I love
yeah.
how they put the little clasp on there as if you could open it and just add more
Oh my god, there is a
stuff
clasp
inside.
on there.
Yeah. I wonder if this one will grow like all the other ones did in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean they all have some form of
Element to them. Yeah.
yeah. Uh yeah, so and just to talk about Queen's foil, because this is a Queen's foil sensor, and so it's meant to like distribute the smoke around, right? To
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
prepare it, whatever. Uh See that plant? It's Queen's foil. The leaves carefully prepared can be used to see into other planes, other realms, but the power of the vision can destroy the weak. That's queen's foil. It's highly poisonous, but when the leaves are properly dried and crushed, it can be used to induce prophecy. The risks are immeasurable. That my
Hmm.
friend Nasia was still in training to become a Techian. When my friend Nasia was still in training to become a Techian, she dried her own queen's foil and tried to induce a vision. It nearly killed her. Give that plant a wide berth. So you can actually find queen's foil in the Dreaming City. There's a few pilgrimage patrol missions where Shirochi. That's what I was reading. Shirochi will tell you the deal about
Yeah.
what queen's foil is, and that's why I was like, yeah, it'll get you fucking high. Like
That's funny. Uh,
canonically, it'll get you fucking high. Like I'm not lying when I say that.
yeah. It unlocks like the ability to see the path forward to whatever that you're
Yeah, so do
doing. I
mushrooms.
re Yeah, because we even had the it was called the tincture of Queen's foil, which was
Yeah,
like the element that we used. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, man. I'm
Oh,
excited.
I'm very
Tuesday.
excited.
2 days. Two
Yeah,
days.
2 days. So I guess we didn't really have much predictions. Do you have any predictions? It's hard to have predictions with so
It
little
is.
to
I
know.
mean, I just kind of like, basically said them, but I think the dungeon, while it might have like some time to whatever, I don't think
Hmm.
it's going to be that. I think it'll be something else parallel to the story, to maybe get something cool.
Okay.
But like the armor set, like a armor set and a weapon or whatever, or series of weapons.
Well, yeah, and Dungeons Exotic, which will be exciting to see.
I was hoping that the dungeon. Here's my hope,
Okay.
because it's not a prediction. I can't make a prediction. It's insane because
I
dungeons are
have one
insane to
prediction.
predict.
Yeah.
Okay, my hope is that it'll be something from the past, and we go there and we get some really cool stuff from the past.
Hmm.
Like not from the past, like time wise, but like armor that we used to have.
Hmm.
Because I really
So
want some more D1 stuff.
so the way these seasons have been going from memory, because as time goes on, it gets a little harder to actually recall exactly. Every season so far, to my knowledge, has we have a goal in sight, and we have a new ally that we have to work with. And that new
Yeah.
ally, in order to work with us, it's like you scratch my back, I scratch yours, type of thing. So it's like, all right, so we're working with Asa, we're scratching her back, she's gonna scratch ours. She's going to tell us the secret of the witness, that the witness is actually a mass of people. That's what it was. I fucking remembered that the witness was this mass of people, and like this is how it happened, and this is the history of it. This is how it was created. Okay, cool. We're learning about our enemy. We're gonna find its weakness. Uh, the enemy is inside the traveler. We need to get in there. And as it turns out, thank you, Asa, the only person that we can learn that from is Savathun. So we go through this trek of new ally and Savathun.
Yep.
You
Yep.
scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. She's like, I'll
Yep.
tell you how to get in there, but you have to do something about Zivu Wrath. So we spend the weeks like building up
Yep.
the ability to deal with Zivu Wrath. We deal with Zivu Wrath, and Savathun's like, all right, here's your new ally. It's an Ahamkara. And we go, we need to go in that portal. And the Ahamkara is going to say, I can get you in that portal. First, you need to do something for me. And so
Boom.
I don't know what that something for me is. That's what I'm interested in. Because like, what can an Ahamkara want?
That's a good. I like that. That's
Could
a
it
good track.
could it want to come into reality? How awesome would that be if the whole season is like fourth wall break and it's just like this fucking Ahamkara is trying to leave the video game, and then
That'd be
it's like
really cool.
it's like that's it, I did it, I'm out, and then it leaves the game forever, never to return, and you're just like wait like did it really? Did we
Uh,
actually just do that?
there it is. You guessed it. An
That's
Ahamkara is
my
going to reach
prediction.
out of your television screen and
Yeah.
push its own off button.
Be careful what you wish for. We're about to unleash an Ahamkara next season. All right. Well, I hope you and I hope everyone listening and watching enjoys Season of the Wish. I hope it's a good one. I hope it's great. I want the game
Same.
to succeed. There's no reason to be pessimistic. Our next episode will be on December 10th,
Yep.
and then we might have to talk about Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. So that's going to be it for us this week. If you came in late and you want to find more about us, we are at Loose Cannon Show on Twitter, as it is. Oh wait, no, they moved it. They moved it. It used to be down. Now it's up. At Loose Cannon Show on as it is spelled up there. Oh wait, no, I'm in mod view. Maybe that's different. We're on Twitter. Find us on Twitter.
Yeah. We're everywhere.
The episode will be up. Bye everybody.
Bye.